and welcome back to Anti-Depressing. Wow. Welcome back. Great to have you here. This is the podcast where we talk about everything from liturgy to Lexapro, and this is a certain number of episodes, and I'm fifth
episode.
Fourth?
We did it.
Fourth.
Woo! Fourth episode.
It's been a ride.
I've
Can't
definitely
believe
been
it.
awake this whole day. Yes.
This whole day. It's
Yeah.
been a day.
It's been a journey.
But we are more than thrilled today because we teased last week that we were potentially going to have a guest, and the guest is better than I think we could have dreamed up.
Yeah.
Better than we could have.
Nothing is coincidence. Everything is providence. God is always in the mix.
Always.
And today we have somebody who has blessed us in a way that is just unbelievable.
Unreal.
Touched each of our lives. Touched by an angel, truly.
Truly.
So put your hands
Without
together
further ado.
for Julianna Nett.
Hello, friends.
Yeah. Welcome.
A fun fact about Julianna is she hates laugh tracks, clap tracks. So we had to intro her with a little clap, clap, clap. Welcome, Julianna.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Yes, the laugh track stems from my being a comm major in college. So don't blame me. Blame
It's
my
not her fault.
professors.
There it is. It's not her fault. Why don't you tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do, why you're here, who you're related to?
Oh, yeah, crazy.
Just a little.
Yeah, so
tidbit.
I know Chanel really well, but I'm
Oh
playing.
my gosh.
So yes, Jasmine is my bigger sister.
Of course.
Of course. And these two are like my very closest people in my life. So cheers.
Cute.
Yeah, so the last little bit since graduating college has been a bit of a whirlwind. I've lived in like 3 different states, but you know,
Natural.
getting my footing together. And yeah, I'm loving where I'm at now though.
Now she's all
Where are you
settled.
at now?
Yes, so I'm an events registration coordinator for Life Teen, and I absolutely love my job.
We love Life Teen out here, so we're proud.
And for everyone that is watching us on video, Julianna is single as a Pringle. So.
She is.
Yeah, so
She is, and we're talking a little bit about a romance today. So gear up, everybody.
Yeah, it's gonna be nothing but fun. I'm so excited to use these sounds now. So
I know this is
yeah,
it's gonna
like,
get overused.
It's gonna get.
We just learned.
It's gonna become like super severe.
Every
So
house.
Jasmine,
crazy.
tell me about how your week has been, and then Julianna, share about like yours. You're back visiting in Florida. Are you loving it? Like you have enough time to pray about your answer, but Jasmine, like how
Contemplate
are you
it.
doing? Yeah.
I'm doing really good. Honestly, week's been great, and now my husband is on spring break, the gift of gifts for people who have a spouse that works in education, the best. Took my littlest daughter to get allergy tested today, like get blood drawn. Probably one of like the hardest experiences as a parent. So prayers up to all those parents of medically complicated children, because I cannot imagine all of like the poking and prodding you see happen to your children and how sad that is. So definitely praying for all those mamas and daddas today. But yeah, life's been pretty chill, and Julianna's visiting, and I'm so excited. Tell us about your 24 hours here so far.
So my 24 hours here has been the absolute highlight of my week. I love being able to come visit. When I stepped outside at the Orlando airport, I forgot what it was like to like be hot.
You feel damp. Welcome back to
It's
Orlando.
been like
Moist all the
pretty
time.
cold 3 weeks in Atlanta, but it was nice to like sweat again. So, and then I was like, it doesn't stop. You're just warm.
You're gonna sweat all the time.
But it's been really good to be able to see all my pals and see my sweet nieces who absolutely, when I walked through that door, just like tackled me.
It was the most precious thing I've ever seen. Like
Literally
imagine
so
like
cute.
little hands just reaching out, being like, "Oh my gosh. And just so many hugs, so many kisses, so many giggles. It was such a cute thing to witness.
It was so sweet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It was very sweet. Well, thank you guys for asking how my week was.
I was about to.
Yeah, that's fine.
There.
It was great. We're preparing for Easter over here. It's Catholic Super Bowl, so I'm very excited to wear a cute dress. And wait. And I got a haircut.
I'm going to cap you on those.
Please.
And and I'm just really excited to hang out with y'all. And work this week has been like a lot, but it's all good because
It's all good.
Yeah, because it's all work that is like fun to do. And they say you never feel like you're working if you're having fun, which is not true because you definitely still feel like you're working, but it makes it less horrific. So that's pretty much how my week
at least enjoy your life a little.
It's true.
Yeah. I enjoy it more. And going over to Jasmine and her husband's house is like the highlight of my week every week. I love hanging out with y'all. So it has been great. Mm-hmm.
Easter vibes.
Yeah.
So exciting. Also, I realize this is going to release in like a month. So post-Easter vibes. Still Easter, likely. We'll still be in that range.
The Easter
so
season. We are resurrected.
Get crazy. If you're listening to this, we made it through Lent.
We did.
A gift.
At last.
A gift. We did it. Okay. As we said last week, this week we are talking about this season of The Bachelor. And if you've listened to our first 3 episodes, you will know that normally we look at a variety of stories happening. But when something as significant as the entire season of Bachelor ending happens, we're going to do a little bit of a deep dive because of who we are as people. So Chanel, tell me this. I never really was into the Bachelor, Bachelorette franchise.
Fair.
But would watch it casually with friends. Had friends who were really into it, would sometimes watch with them. But you are the friend who's gotten me back into it. So tell me about your love affair with The Bachelor. Deep breath.
So this is really hard to say. I used to be a huge fangirl of The Bachelor and The Bachelorette, authentically because I just thought that it was like just fun to watch. Yeah. And unfortunately, it has just become very painful. It's hard. It's hard to watch.
Tough.
And we will talk about why. It is a hard watch.
It's a little much.
But I love watching The Bachelor because I started actually watching it when I was out of college, and I would invite like friends, potential like woman friends over to my house, and we would like make charcuterie boards, have wine, hang out. And I was like, what's something unifying that we can do that can somehow give us a sense of like normalcy, right? Yeah. So like maybe we don't want to do a Bible study every week. Maybe we want to just do something where we can just exist.
Like something calm.
Chill.
Yeah.
And so
I invited women over to watch like bad movies. Oh, bad as in like horribly made, not bad as in like
inappropriate.
Spicy.
Yeah.
And so and then we were like, why don't we watch a show? So then we started watching The Bachelor and The Bachelorette, and honestly it was just fun. Like the community that built from it was just fun. We looked forward every week. They looked forward to coming over to my house. We would go to other friends' house. We would all bring food. It was just like so fun. And honestly, and we don't watch it like for real, we just watch it to just make fun of it. And and it's just fun to also sit with ladies and be like, in what ways am I reflected in some of these women in the ways that they don't love themselves, perceivedly. They don't love themselves, or they don't value themselves in the way that I should and they should. And so it's also just good for conversation. And it's very organic because you naturally just see women doing things that you're like, I would never do that. And then all of a sudden a girl's like, girl, I did that. So so it's
so true.
So that's kind of like how I and then eventually, once you're in like once you start watching The Bachelor and The Bachelorette, there's like a Bachelorette to other horrible reality show pipeline. So now I'm like
Love is Blind.
Farmer Tiger King.
Tiger King. Quite the different genre, but I love
very
where your
different.
head's at.
Love
into it.
Farmer Wants a
Island,
Wife,
which is
Married at First Sight.
Married at First Sight. You just start falling,
It's a
slipping
slippery
and sliding.
slope.
So that's how I got there. Yeah.
The Tiger King throw-in is still throwing me. I'm like,
I was trying to be like, oh look, I diversify my content.
I'm here for it.
I also watch National Geographic.
Thank you for
And
the
Chanel
fun
is
fact.
also single as a Pringle for all of you watching the video or just
Yeah.
listening to that smooth voice. Smooth
Yeah.
like honey, baby.
Yep. So Jasmine, I kind of pulled you into watching The Bachelor and The Bachelorette. I'm
Yes.
sorry about that.
No,
But
thank you. It's been a treasure.
Yeah, but it's been so fun for you.
It's been a treasure watching it with you. I still only watch it if we're going to be watching it together, which brings us to Julianna. Tell us about your relationship to The Bachelor.
Yeah.
And I love that we're taking so much time talking about our origin stories. Please share.
So the first time I watched The Bachelorette was when we were all working for Alive in You, and Chanel was like, I'm going to watch The Bachelorette. And we were like, okay.
I hope our boss doesn't listen to this.
I know.
He'd be proud.
Oh,
Anyway.
he wouldn't care. Yeah.
Scrub this part
He
out.
would love it.
But when I was studying abroad, yes, I know, I'm that girl. I'm that girl.
Studying
You are that girl
abroad
right now.
in Barcelona. Yeah.
It was Rome.
Roma.
Quick, tell us the best pizza place. Quick.
Don't.
I
People will
won't.
come at you. Okay, go ahead.
It was Illuminati's.
Oh.
Anyways, yeah, so I watched it when I was studying abroad because my roommates were watching it and I wanted to like make friends with my roommates. And then I actually got into it.
There it
And
is.
then when I got sent home, because I studied abroad in 2020 and I was quarantining with Jasmine and her husband, Steven, I made them watch it with me.
True.
And they got into it.
Yeah.
Pipeline.
But I really only
Into it,
watch
I think,
it.
would be me. Steven.
But Steven was into it too. He
Yeah.
wishes he could have been the Chris Harrison.
Oh, yeah, the host. He'd be a
because
great host.
he
He
thought-
would have absolutely been like, hey, everybody. All right, ladies, get out of that limo. Great. Why don't you all get back in? Go home. Love your families.
deserve better.
Find
He'd
a
be
hobby.
like, "What you're about to watch is crazy." Like he would dramatize it, I think.
That's fair.
But I really only watch it like if I'm like going over to someone's like house and watching it. Like I've
That's
watched
fair.
it with like previous boyfriends of mine's mothers, which is very fun and
Oh,
it's really how
very
you get to know
niche.
someone.
Ideal situation.
Yes, and yeah, and really like with friends and stuff. But I won't watch it like just by myself because it's
Yeah.
honestly like I think just kind of like boring by yourself.
And
I
a
wish
little
there
sad.
was like a little sound button that was like, oh.
Wow.
We should add that.
It's true, though. It's a little sad. It's a little sad.
It is kind of sad. Yeah.
Okay, well, for those of you who did not watch it, and also for those of you who are like, oh my gosh, The Bachelor, people who watch this, and this, and this, just skip it, baby. Just skip this episode of the podcast. It's okay. It's not that deep.
It's okay.
We don't need you to listen to everyone. It's okay. We still love you. But I will say, we're not going to just talk about The Bachelor. We're going to talk about The Bachelor. We're going to talk about relationships in general. We're going to talk about loving yourself. We're going to talk about self-love. We're going to talk about giving yourself to other people. We're going to talk about anxiety.
Whoa.
We're going to talk about what these two ladies are doing to find love.
Whoa.
We're gonna really do it up.
Wow.
So there is more than meets the eye. But first we're gonna focus on, and wait for it, I've said it before and I'll say it again, the most boring man in the United States of America was The Bachelor this season.
And before we start, I think we should have a little intro. Before our stories, I think we should have a little intro.
Get us in there.
So why don't we just... Here we go.
Here we go, everybody.
All right, so the most boring man in all of history. He is literally the personification of a tan paper sandwich bag. He is so boring.
Just Julianna said on the way here, which I love because I was like, people have been comparing him to vanilla yogurt.
Yeah.
And
I
by-
was like, I wouldn't even say vanilla yogurt. I would say plain, or sorry, not vanilla ice cream. Plain Greek yogurt.
Greek yogurt.
'Cause
Yeah.
Just
where like
Tart.
kind of almost tastes like sour cream.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the stuff. Just
Yeah.
very, very plain. But yeah, so he's just a boring, regular old man. We know nothing about him. He shared nothing about himself this entire season until like the last episode when he maybe opened up. I almost had a heart attack. But I had to Google like what was his job. He worked in tech, which is pretty much like the most vague thing that anyone's ever done ever. But apparently works in tech.
His
Lived
name
in
is
Austin,
Zach
Texas.
Shallcross.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that about tells you.
Also-
Honestly, what we just told you is everything we learned in an entire season of this show. So that's him. He's just a man trying to find love with anybody who has trauma.
He's trying to find his person.
Oh, yeah, he did say that a lot. Yeah. I'm just trying to find my person. Took so many showers. I would say the most boring and hygienic scenes. Man Absolutely. In America. Never sweat, probably. He was always showering. So that was crazy. But, Chanel, can you tell me, because you watched the whole season, like, do you have a highlight from this season, a moment that you're like, I can't stop thinking about this?
This is really tough.
It's hard to find one
because he was literally so boring. I wanted to launch myself into space. Let me think. Okay, probably a highlight was honestly the amount of like friendship, rah girl time was probably my favorite.
Because Julianna's face right now for me. She's like, yeah.
Because
I watched like one episode, I think.
It was,
but they were really like.
It was your favorite in a way that you thought it was good, or you thought it was interesting.
I thought it was interesting that they were like friendly.
Yeah,
because all the girls were like actually cheering one another on, which was interesting to watch. Because if you were like, hey Chanel, here's this dude, and he's also dating a couple of your other kind of maybe acquaintance friends, and I'm gonna need you to be supportive of those other women, I'd be like, well, absolutely cancel me then, because I will not. So it was interesting to watch that, and them actually being like, we're friends. You're gonna get your time, like, we support you, like, be honest with Zach, like, share your feelings. It's like, girl, go get your man. Like, stand up.
Your man.
Yeah, stand up.
That's true. Yeah.
Yes. Honestly, I thought that was very interesting. One of my favorite people from the show this season was Christina, which is a very politically spicy topic to say. I don't know. People are not into her. And then other people love her. But I actually knew who she was before she came on the show. So I already had an attachment. But I thought it was so interesting that essentially, I mean, first of all, he sent her home for multiple reasons. One of them, that one of the girls who was like mentally not doing great said that she was being very mean to her. Then she left the next episode anyways because she wasn't doing great. So power of like what you say has consequences, and like saying that somebody's like bullying you is like a very intense thing to say, and throwing that around has like big consequences for other people, which we obviously saw. But then also, because the other girls thought she was mean for like being upset that they got roses and she didn't, right? Like, so on her first week, she got the one-on-one. And so she had all that time with Zach, met his family, did the whole drama.
That was a crazy first date.
Crazy. That never happened.
For the first date of the whole season, he took Christina to go meet his family. Which, Julianna, I want to ask you, because you said that you have watched shows with boyfriends' moms, which is very niche and specific. And I just want to ask you, what does it... Julianna has a life that y'all would not even believe.
You would not believe.
Never... No, I'm not even...
She has done
She has never had to pursue anybody. She's constantly getting pursued. Her life
not
is...
just
constantly, look at her.
But...
No, but that's...
Not constantly, but check us out on YouTube. You'll see. But anyway, she's so cute. So, Julianna, you have met, boyfriend's parents.
Right.
And
yes.
Men.
What has that been like? Like, what did that feel like? Because watching that first episode,
okay,
first impression,
it's definitely scary.
Yeah,
I remember like meeting my like previous boyfriend's parents. I was like nervous because we lived in different states, so I'd only like heard things about them. But I was like excited, and
it's intense pressure.
But it ended up being really fun. Me and his mom got along really well, and his dad, honestly. But it was fun, but it's also very nerve-wracking because I, like, when I'm uncomfortable, I'll just, like, crack a joke. Actually, that's just, like, me all the time. So, like, but luckily the jokes landed. But, like, so I've been in situations where, like, I've made a joke and it doesn't land and it's incredibly uncomfortable. But, like, definitely, like, meeting the family is super scary. I actually saw this episode, it was with Christina, right?
Yeah. This is the one you watched. Yeah, we loved her.
This was the one I watched. And I had seen her because she was a model for Pink Lily. Yes. And I see their stuff on Instagram. But Yeah. I would be, if it was like our first date, I'd be like,
So into
we're going to meet your parents. I don't
yeah.
even like know your favorite color or like what you like to do for fun. Like, what are your goals kinds of things. I'd want to get those established before I
Go and
meet your
parents.
family and get attached to them.
Yeah.
You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying?
absolutely.
Because in every
Yeah.
guy I've dated, I've loved his family.
That is true.
So-
Julianna has.
But Julianna's that girl that every
Dads love
yes,
me.
every dad, every mom is like,
Mm-hmm.
oh my gosh, I want you to be my daughter. She's that
She
girl.
is the best. She is
And
the best.
so then it's like the guys, you know how sometimes young people actually don't want their parents to like the person they like. You know, they want the drama. And if their
Oh.
parents are like, no, I love that. You should do that. Then kids are like, I don't
I don't
want
want
to
to
do that.
Oh, yeah.
So Julianna's
Maybe
got
that's it.
Maybe we cracked the code. Thank you so much,
All
Anti-Depressing.
right. Anyway, so that's the end of the episode. Jasmine has
We have
therapized.
diagnosed.
Yeah.
But yeah, wild times out here, you guys. I honestly blacked out. I had something to share next, and it is gone because that was a breakthrough, I think.
Thank you. I can like stop going to therapy now. So.
Oh my god, it's so good. Save on that therapy bill. Antidepressants. I'm just kidding. Actually, everybody should go to therapy.
Yeah.
We'll hit that later. But yeah, wild show. And honestly, this is what I was going to say. Not very important, but there's that John Mulaney joke where he's like, things have been going pretty good with us. How about we add 2 older Catholic people to the mix? Like talking about introducing his girlfriend, who was then his wife, now his ex-wife. It's been a journey, to his parents. And like, that's how I feel when you're like, oh, I'm going to introduce him to my parents, especially for like Catholic people. It's like, have you ever met 2 very conservative older Catholic people? And they'd be like super
get
fun to
ready.
get in this mix,
Yeah.
you know? It's great. It's great.
Full
Love
send into
parents.
it. Oh gosh.
But yeah, so that I think moment was a little wild for the Christina situation. And then what happened the week right after is that they all were on a group date, Rose, and it was Christina's first group date. And so she was like, what is this like? Because I've only been on a one-on-one date, which is fair because she had only been on a one-on-one date. But the other girls were like, we get it, girl. We get it. We get it. He chose you first with a one-on-one date. We get it. We get it. And they were so over it. And then he gave the group date rose to Charity. We love Charity. She's the Bachelorette
She
next
was the
season.
one that was selected. Yep. Very sweet.
We cannot wait. But she got the rose, and then Christina was like, I guess I'm just a little confused because like I thought it would be me. Which the phrasing, not awesome. Like
Not
I
great.
thought it would be me. It's a little over
presumptuous.
intense. But I think the root cause here, which I've seen a lot of people talk about, is like, are we here because we're trying to all make friends, or are we here for this man? And Christina said, she was like, I actually don't care what any of you think because like I am here for Zach. And so that's like what I'm here for. Which, yeah, like she's a mother. She like left her daughter at home so she could come do this to find a man, not to like make some girlfriends, right?
Yeah.
And so she was like, I'm trying to just like find a husband and like get out of here. I'm not trying to like make any besties. So I thought that was interesting. But what were your vibes on the whole, like, the girl power outweighing sometimes the actual, like, purpose of why they're there?
How about you, Juliana?
Yeah, I mean, I think I see both sides of it because I remember like watching that one episode, or I think maybe 2, because I saw when there was like COVID happening too.
Yes. Yeah.
But they were all very supportive of each other, which I thought was really cool. I was like, yeah, women supporting women, but also I don't understand how they're like upset that Christina was upset that she wasn't chosen because at the end of the day, like they're there to find love,
Yes.
not to make friends. Like, yeah.
Yeah,
true.
and that's it. And honestly,
But Christina definitely could have worded that better.
could've
But
worded
you
it
know
better.
what?
She
We all
could've.
make mistakes. We all
do.
have
Not
said
all say
things.
things
Not
that
should
all
should
of
have
us
said
make
better.
mistakes on national television.
There.
Well, that's
And
a good
that's
point.
the bummer. That's the bummer. Like, your life is being broadcasted, and that sucks,
Yes.
right? But I do think, like, baby girls, don't you have friends from home? Like, why are you coming in here
like
trying
you're not
to make
coming
such
here
good
to
friends?
like find a like. It's not like you're in college and you're like, I want friends. I
wanna
want
find a
roommates.
bestie.
It's like, no, girl, you're like 28. You probably have your friends.
You're 28,
You got
you
your
left
people.
your jobs
Yeah.
to be here.
Yeah.
It was really interesting. Like, it's
interesting.
always interesting season after season to watch the girls be like, I'm not here for friends. I'm here to meet this man. And then
Yeah.
hear other women say, well, it's not a competition. You're treating it like a competition. And then women
Isn't
will be
it?
like, it is a competition.
It is.
And they're like, no, it's not. But then they get down to the wire and they're like, I deserve some one-on-one time. So-and-so does not.
Yep.
Da-da-da. And it's like, okay,
Everyone will sell out eventually.
yeah, okay. So it's like, so you're treating this then like a competition. It's like in Mean Girls where Regina George is like, what did she say? So you think I'm really... So you think
I'm really pretty?
Yeah. So
like,
you think
yeah.
I'm really... It's like, okay, so like
so
down
that,
to the wire
so
then.
it is what it is.
So you think I'm really pretty. So it's like, I just... The show is confusing.
Yeah.
And honestly, it's like being a
But
patroness...
push comes to shove, like, to what you were saying, all those girls eventually got like that, where they were like, you know what? Well, she whatever, and I deserve more time. They all got like that. Christina was just like that very early. But as time went on, all of them had their breaking point where they were like, girl, I don't care that much about you. I'm like here for Zach.
Yeah.
You know, they all had their moment.
And honestly, it's a good reflection on, that show is a good reflection on like female, you know, when we really get together and support one another, what a difference that can make in immediate society and society at large, because it really is powerful watching women support one another. At the same time, it's also interesting to me how bored I was watching them support one another.
Yeah.
I was
It's
like,
not fun.
I want you guys to fight. And does that make me horrible?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, whoa.
No, I'm sorry. I was saying to how boring it was. I was saying how
it's
boring.
like, it's crazy
because we're watching a reality show.
Yeah.
Like, we can all be kind to each other and loving, and we're
Totally.
stable. And so, like, I already have enough of that in my
But
life.
look,
Show
our
me the
lives aren't
goods.
being recorded because they're not that interesting.
Interesting. Only on this
Theirs
podcast
are.
are we being recorded.
That is true.
Because everything else is boring.
Yeah.
But it is. And, like, every time a girl would have drama or anything, Zach was like, go home, babe.
Yeah.
Go home, babe. Go home. You had a panic attack? Go home.
Yeah.
Which, so intense.
Is giving like he's gonna give up very quickly when things get hard, which is not attractive.
Is giving that.
Yeah.
It's giving that. It's,
Yeah.
It's intense.
Yeah, exactly. And so it's just interesting. And it's like, at the end of the day, if women were to support other women in the way that we really should, right?
Yeah.
So in this society that, you know, Pope Francis talks about, where he says, like, we should all be in a society that is, like, you know, supportive and uplifting and preaches the gospel, etc. Like, if we really lived in that society, would we all be bored? I don't know.
We
because
might. There might be
some
nothing
of us are so
entertaining.
fueled by chaos that it's like sometimes
we would just have to watch chaotic, non-reality TV.
that part. It would be like The Good Place. We would just sit there and just, but then we'd be like,
yeah.
are we in the bad place? I don't know. So,
Yeah, is it
And
so
you
good
are.
that it's
Yeah.
bad? Because I'm bored.
I'm
I'm bored. It's too good. Yeah, I don't know. What a wild ride, honestly. But tell me this, ladies.
Okay.
Obviously, this show is problematic in a quadrillion ways because really every season when these girls or these men are like, this is just so hard. I never thought it would be this hard. I'm like, what did you think it would be like when the person you're falling in love with is dating 10 other people, 20 other people, then just one other person, and they're deciding between you and them? Did you think like, oh, my confidence is going to be through the roof when I think they might not pick me? Like, what did you think? And it really boils down to every season. It's like, well, don't you think it's because like this is problematic? Like someone dating multiple people? So tell me, obviously, on a way different scale, Catholic circles are very small. And generally it's like there's like 20, maybe less, 15, 10 young adults that are friends with each other in a group. And there might be some like like you date someone, then someone else is interested in dating someone, because sometimes just like friend groups end up dating all of each other. We've all watched TV shows, right? This just kind of happens. But in Catholic circles, it's like there's so few eligible people. Tell me what your like boundaries, rules, perceptions are on how this should work.
Oof, man, that's really tough.
Hit us
I mean,
with it.
I'm a big like open communicator. So for me, and I'm very like rah girl power, but at the same time, it's like in that scene at Mean Girls, which
Everything
is just
comes
my
back to
constant.
me.
Always comes
It's,
back to that.
you could tell I read a lot of books, but it's like that scene in Mean Girls where Katie they're at the mall and she's like looking and the girls are like everyone's fighting like they're on like an African, like they're in the wild. That's what it feels like sometimes. It's like you want to support your other women, right? Like you want to be like, hey, I want you to find someone great. I want you to find someone great. I want all of us to be happy. But if there is a man that walked in that was 6'3", played guitar, prayed, wore cool like snapback hats, knows how to dance.
My question is, just really quick.
I'd fight you.
Does he wear chacos or does he wear boots? Because there are only two types.
That's true. I would say he probably doesn't wear chacos. He probably is like wear Tevas. They're like a little less athletic.
I thought you were going to be like he wears white Adidas because you were going to knock out if that was the facts.
Or he wears like Reebok Classics.
For a minute there, you were describing my husband in the beginning, and I was like,
LOL.
It's an episode for another day. But it's like it's crazy because it's like you want to be supportive, but at the same time, in a lot of Catholic circles, it does feel like, for example, you'll go to young adult events and it feels very much like you're applying for jobs. So as a woman, so
it's like networking.
It
sometimes.
Is networking. So you'll like bring. It's like you should have a resume. So it's like people will be like, so
your Catholic Match profile printed
like,
out.
So what do you like? What are you into? Like normal questions, like what are you into? What kind of ice cream do you like? You know what? What do you do for fun? How fertile are you? How many siblings do you have? See, like how fast
you sneak that in so fast they don't even know.
They don't even know. And so dating in itself, Catholic dating can be kind of hard. But within circles and amongst friends, I'll say, because I'm really into communication and respecting my ladies, it's like if one of my girlfriends was like, hey, I like so-and-so, I would be like, cool. And then that would be off for me. Yeah, that is my vibe. How about you?
Yeah, I think definitely the same thing. I think it depends, like, if...
she's like, I definitely agree, but I also don't agree.
Well, I've, like, pre-dating, like, you don't really, like... have like anything over that person.
Yeah,
but it depends how long your relationship was with that person. Because if one of my really close friends was like, I want to date that person, I'd be like, nope.
like if you dated them for a long time.
Like if you dated them for a long time and like it was very serious, I think that would be like
that'd be a no.
I don't think that's a good idea kind of thing, because they're still like, you know.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. I don't know, because like
if your
it's
friend
still like
went on a coffee date with the guy,
yeah, exactly.
And
if it was like a coffee date and it was like not my vibe, go for it. Like I think that's totally fine.
That's true. That's true.
Fair.
Julianna's like there are parameters.
They weren't like putting dibs on it. Yeah. Like they don't actually love them anymore. You know, they don't like them. They're not into it.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. Then it's acceptable.
Yeah. Totally. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the reality of the scenario is that we're putting our heads together recently because we're always trying to find these two ladies a husband. So hit me
Jasmine
up with,
and Chanel are like
hit me up with any
Indian mothers.
Scheming.
We are like your Indian mothers.
And I'm like,
always scheming, always trying to make people match. We have one successful marriage that we set up. Shout out Amanda and Ryan. Mm-hmm. So we will not stop until we have two. And then we are done.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe.
That's pretty good. 2 marriages that could result in human people being made because we set people up.
True. We can cancel. Yeah, we can.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
How many have failed? Just curious.
That's actually not something we keep track of. Growth mindset, baby. Positivity.
Those stats are not important.
Okay,
not important. Yeah. It's not about the journey. It's about the destination.
Sure.
So, anyways, that was rude.
I'm sorry.
We are trying our best out here, but what we've realized, and we know a lot of Catholic people is, I'm sorry, but Catholic men who are like good, kind, humble, servant-hearted, like where are you exactly? Because we're really having a hard time. So if you are listening and that is you, please like smash that like button, reply.
Email? Is it
email antidepressingshow@gmail.com and like for
please
real, tell me who you are.
You don't have to say like who your name is or
no,
whatever.
and you don't even have to want to date one of these beautiful ladies.
This is feeling very Cinderella story.
Just in the subject line, name a location. Are you at Subway? Are you at a parish hall? Are you collegiate? Like, where
What's
are you
happening?
hanging out? I mean, honestly, just name a place.
Name where you are so they can find you. Not you specifically, maybe, but where the other Catholic men are.
Yeah.
Because it's pretty baffling out here. But that goes to say, like, if we don't know many, I shouldn't say zero, but if we don't know many Catholic men, but I know a lot of amazing Catholic single ladies, then, like, yeah, we're going to have to kind of, like, I'll go on a date with him. I'm not into him, but you can try. Because, I mean, we found this one good Catholic dude, and so our whole friend group of girls is going to see if it's going to work for them.
Going on like a round
We have
robin.
joked with one of our Catholic guy friends that we're going to do Catholic Bachelorette with him. Not us, because we're all like, we know him well. But we're going to set
But we're going
up
to.
Catholic
That's actually our
Bachelorette.
next show. Anti-Depressing
Bachelor,
and then Catholic
yeah.
Bachelor, Catholic Bachelorette. Hit us up if you want to be on it, because we might do a little thing on our social
How
media
many
for fun.
episodes would it last for? I don't know. At
I don't
a certain
know.
point,
But
I
I
feel like people might be like, okay, so
I know, but I did see an influencer that did this with her brother. And she had girls apply, Danny Austin. Yeah.
Okay.
Girls, like, applied, made videos. They flew them to Austin, Texas, and, like, they did, or to Dallas or whatever, and they did, like, a Bachelor. So
Did
I'm
he
like,
find
you know
love?
what? No, they dated for a little bit and they broke up. But that's
sure.
not what matters. What matters is it was fun.
it doesn't matter because Jasmine already found the love of her life. So circling back, it's like if we all, decided that we were going to support one another
Yes.
and listen to one another, then
Absolutely.
maybe we could live in a place where people will be generous with their contacts. It's like there's
It's so
also
true.
it's like how many
People store up their friends.
people store up their friends.
They save
single
them in
men,
case.
single women. Yeah, you save them up just in case. You put them in your pocket. So it's like
That's
you
not
gotta
us, though.
That
Our
is
one
not us.
eligible... I'm not going to say his name on here because he would literally be so over it. But we
He would.
try to... He's the one that would go on The Bachelor. Like, we tell everybody about him. We've
We do.
tried.
Yeah, I tell everybody
And you
about
got to
true.
share that.
everybody
info.
about Julianna. I tell everybody.
Everybody.
About
Oh,
her. Everybody
thank
about
God.
the other person that we're talking about that we will not name. It's like we just, it's So The Bachelor is an interesting show. The Bachelorette is an interesting show. It's a great premise. To just say like
Premise.
I'm trying to redeem it, but it's like
You can't.
Yeah, it's a interesting thing, but it's sad to see people just truly be in situations where they're wondering why they're feeling a certain way.
Yeah,
when it
it's sad.
doesn't make sense, right?
Yeah.
So like if you were to say like, why am I feeling so heartbroken when I see this man I like make out with this woman that I just told a little bit of my life story to? Of course you feel upset about it. That's upsetting.
Of course you do.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And it's almost like seeing someone you love share their body with someone else sucks. It's almost like that.
It's almost
or
like
even
that.
knowing they did once. Like, it's almost like that.
Totally.
It's almost
Yeah.
like that. And it's wild. And something interesting, too, happened in this season where in the last episode, it's Gabby and it's Katie. And Gabby is like, just tell me who it is. Tell me you made the choice because I know it's not me. And he's like, no, I haven't decided. And then I remember getting like sad for Gabby because we all knew it wasn't her. Mm-hmm. And when she stepped out of the limo to like go walk up for her like final moment with Zach, she stepped out and she was like, you guys pulled the car up to like a pile of mud and it doesn't matter for me, but when Katie gets here and it actually matters, you need to like park in a spot that isn't muddy. And I remember being like, oh my gosh, that sucks because she knows and we all know. And like to not have that clarity. And then the way she spiraled afterwards about like, what is wrong with me?
So.
And it's me is the problem, which like the first thing I'm like, wow, how intense for a woman to wrap her identity so intensely into a man. And like, how often do women like do that? That's wild, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of songs about it. So
There
enough,
is.
apparently.
So it must be
enough.
true.
Yeah.
It must be true.
Yeah, so it must be real life. And it's like, and it's sad because hearing the things that Gabby was sharing when she was saying like, when will I finally be chosen? What about me isn't lovable? Why am I not worth it? Those are all things that I've said to myself, right, at certain points.
So
and
many women
we've
feel,
all kind of pondered where we're like, this didn't work out in my favor. So like, what is it about? And that kind of mental gymnastics you have to do.
Yeah.
Almost that show, this show makes me feel like, is it really worth it? Because that's a lot of mental gymnastics.
Yeah.
It is.
But it puts on display a lot of those like real, genuine feelings that women have, but they're just like saying it out loud, you know? And I think there's like something bonding about that.
It is. It is. So real quick, let's talk about one of my favorite episodes.
Hit me with that.
Because it was so drama.
Okay.
Fantasy Suites.
Fantasy Suites was wild.
Yeah.
Sex Week.
Go ahead and like Sex Week. Let's go ahead and fill Julianna in.
Yeah, I don't know anything about.
Do you want to fill her in?
Okay, yeah. Okay. So Fantasy Suites.
Sorry, go ahead.
Show.
Yeah, start from the start.
Yeah, part of the show where like they bring the final contestants and they have an option to stay in like a hotel together and do spicy things.
Yes.
Okay, so Zach, because he is a cringy paper bag of a person, he was like, I'm going to call it Sex Week, right? Weird.
Already
weird.
He called it that.
Yeah. He called it that.
Already
just like
weird.
immediately passing, but then it became like
what it
a
was.
thing. Yeah.
So he was talking to the host and he was like, hey, I'm not going to have sex with anyone because I want to form like an authentic connection and I don't really think I should be like within 7 days. Like,
which is
don't want to add the physicality.
Yeah.
That's understandable.
Yeah.
Which like sure. And so he said that, right? Okay. Goes out on a date with the first girl. Very attracted to her, Ariel. She's stunning, right?
Stunning.
We all know that,
her.
like, you can be attracted to people and you could still not have sex with them. It is possible.
Right. It's
So,
been done.
Yeah. So,
It has
but
been
he does,
a number of times.
so he tells her, like, I'm not going to have sex with you. She's like, okay.
Yep.
So then he doesn't. Then, next
She
date,
respects the boundary.
She respects the boundary, kind of. Goes out with Gabby, next date. Has sex with her.
Okay.
Yeah.
Immediately spirals.
50-50.
Immediately spirals.
Yeah.
Then goes out with Katie, and who we all knew was gonna win. Like, I mean, she took that guy to like build furniture for her hometown date. Like, we all knew she was gonna win.
She knew.
So goes out with Katie, tells her that he had sex and broke his own rule. She's sitting there and she's like,
she didn't even know he had the rule.
She didn't even know he had the rule.
Okay.
So they're sitting and
Rings
he's
up
like,
that he had the rule.
yeah,
Rings
and
up
he's
that
like,
he broke it.
hey, here's the rule I made, self-imposed.
Gotta respect the honesty, honestly.
Pero Katie was like, why? What is your expectation for me? Like, what do you
Do you want me to be like, good job, way to get it? She literally said
that.
that.
What do you want me to say?
Dang.
And so it was so interesting because then Gabby was like, I feel embarrassed because now everybody knows.
She was like, I feel like I have a scarlet letter. Like,
Yeah.
you went and told everybody that we did this. That was like a me and you decision.
I mean,
Intense.
all of TV was going to see it, babe. I don't know what to tell
Those
you.
are the facts. They were all going to find out eventually. And I also, like, I really feel like Zach was made the villain in a lot of this. And yes, this is going to be the one and only time I defend this man.
Take,
so everybody take it.
take.
Everybody appreciate it.
Okay.
gosh.
Okay.
This is my thing. That he established a boundary with her at dinner and was like, I am comfortable with you spending the night. However, I have made like the decision to not have sex this week. And right away, she made it clear that she was not going to respect the boundary. Like, she was like,
alarming.
well, I don't think you can decide that beforehand. I think you just need to see what happens. Like, I don't think that is how it's going to work. And then in her, like, cut scene record, which we know these are all edited, so who knows what else she's had. But she was like, we'll see what happens tonight. And was very, like,
adamant.
it does not matter that he said that. Like, I don't know if he's going to be able to, like, resist the chemistry we have. And I got ick from that.
Yeah.
From, like, the lack of boundary respecting. And I know that they then were like, this is a mutual decision. We both decided whatever. But still, like, when you go into it being like, I know you said that, but I'm not really into respecting that boundary. Of course, like, there's going to be a sway in conversation in that. And so I do think there's something interesting happening there that the boundary was just, like, not respected at all. And I don't know how they would have made it to the finish line of the show being somebody that, like, could not respect a boundary, you know? And, like, couldn't help uphold the standard. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I bet,
It's
like,
so tough.
I bet when you're so attracted to someone, right? Like, I remember one of my first crushes was Max Goof. Like, I loved him. I thought he was, like, everything to
favorite.
me, right? And so, and I used to have dreams as, like, an adolescent that me and Max were married with, like, little cartoon dog kids.
Of course.
Yeah, of course. And so it's like you automatically envision yourself with that person.
Yes,
Or
it's fair.
inanimate cartoon.
Right,
And
of
it's
course.
like, and, you know, and so, yeah, but setting those boundaries is really tough when you're with
Yes.
an actual person.
Especially if you're
Totally.
like, we're attracted to each other. I want this boundary. You obviously don't. Why don't we just go stay in a bed together and see what happens?
That's
Yeah.
gotta be
Probably.
really tricky to like not be on the same page, like morally,
Yes.
and like especially one person like not respecting you at all.
Yes.
Would you say, so that's an interesting point. Do you think that that's someone not respecting you, or do you think there's opportunity for growth there? If someone was like, wow, I don't know if I will be able to do this easily, as in respect that boundary, but
Yeah, I think there's a difference. The way I didn't watch it, so I don't know.
I mean,
Yeah.
we essentially gave you the breakdown. That was it.
Yeah, but
did
if she
good.
was like, "We'll see what happens tonight," I feel like that's not respecting his decision, which ultimately like wouldn't respect that part of him.
Yes.
Vibes.
And I know that, like, Ariel said in, like, the After the Rose, and so did Gabby, like, that was a decision we should have made as a partner, not that you should have made. And I was explaining this to my husband, who does not care. And he was like, but, like, that's kind of a tricky thing, because if one of the partners says no, it's not like we need to decide this as partners.
Yeah.
Because, like, if you say that's not something you want to do, there is not a conversation to be had, because I'm saying that's something I don't want to do.
I mean,
right?
that comes down to like no means no.
Yeah, like that's what it is. And so I did feel, but Steven was like, but as a man, he can't say that on television, right? He can't be like, oh, but I said no, because there's like the double standard
yeah.
there, and it's tricky. But I really, like, if it was a bachelorette who was like, I don't want to have sex with anybody this week, and then the man was like, we'll see.
Oh, you're
Yeah,
right.
Like,
yeah,
You're
he
that
right.
would've
canceled
been-
in a
oh,
second. It's
You're
like
right.
He would have been
boom,
sent
he's
home.
done.
Everybody
Right.
in America would
He
have
could
been
have been
like,
the
what?
Bachelor, and he would have
You're
been
right.
sent
The
Yeah.
home.
cancel culture vulture would have been
Yes, like you
flying
can't
over that
you
show.
can't do that, right?
Right.
But because it was opposite, but I got weird ick, like it feels like a forced scenario. But then of course, like even if then it would have been the guy being like, we'll see, and then they went to fantasy suites together. They did end up being together, and then in the morning she was like, it was mutual. Everybody would still have the ick a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'd be like, well, you set a boundary, so why wasn't that respected?
Yes.
But it was interesting. So that is also a great point, because it was interesting because we were watching Zach set a boundary from the beginning.
Yes.
And in the beginning, I was like, oh, that's cool. Okay. You want to try to form,
That's
like
fair.
physical things can kind of impede, sometimes like fog up your mind. Sometimes they
Yeah.
can bring clarity, but it's like for the most part, that's not something really prudent to do
Makes
with 3 women in
complications.
7 days. So it's like, so of course that's great that you're setting that boundary, but it was interesting. Almost, it was a joke to watch the women disregard his boundaries and
Yes.
watch the host disregard his boundaries, and for them to make jokes. And
Yeah,
be
they were like, that's going to be really hard.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
A lot of beautiful women, which,
Yeah.
like, if you do that in reverse,
It
is
would be-
icky.
it would
you
be
know,
Yes,
like, you can't do
totally.
that to, like,
Yeah.
a woman. Like,
so it
oh,
is
like-
interesting, like the conversation, which is probably an episode for another day, but just of like sexual boundaries and physical boundaries of being
Yes.
like, you know, what is the point where, as you know, because even Zach talked about Catholic guilt being the reason
Yes.
why he shared
why
with
he went
Katie,
and told Katie.
and why he told Katie, because he was like, I just feel
Oh,
like
he
I-
called
Yeah.
it Catholic
Yes,
guilt?
he was like,
Mhm.
I
Okay.
was like
I
raised
just can't-
Catholic, and it's just
Oh,
like
okay,
Catholic
okay.
guilt.
Yeah,
Like,
which
I
is
could
another
not-
conversation for another day, because it's
So
like
many.
even Catholics like love sex, so it's like knowing
It's
like what
the guilt.
yeah, like knowing, having an idea of the greater yes, rather than saying like, oh, I'm saying no to this, I'm saying no to this, and seeing it as
Yeah.
like, I'm saying yes to authentically
To
knowing.
my
Yes.
future spouse.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like knowing
if he
these
would have
women.
waited till the end, picked the person, it's like that's a beautiful yes and a beautiful
Totally.
sacrifice. But what he took out of this, which is why I'm like, I could never be a Zach apologist, is that at the end of it, he was like, I totally messed up the fantasy suite week, and I should have just gone into it open to whatever happened and open to whatever. Essentially, it was like, I should have just had sex with everybody, and like I shouldn't have like set the boundary, and I should have just done what felt natural. And I'm like, I don't think that was the point, boo. I think that it still made it more complicated. Like, what you thought was going to make it more complicated did make it more complicated. Yes. And I think that was the root of the whole thing, which is wild. So that was
he just stopped thinking with his mind and just started thinking with his body, essentially.
Exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And then he was like, well, my body was right the whole time. And I'm like, okay, sounds good, but I bet.
That's not what you're supposed to get out of that. But all right, cool.
But that's great for you. But truly, to Chanel's point before, it was pretty clear that Katie was going to, I will say win, because it's a competition show. She was going to win this season. She was going to be chosen from pretty early on. So when did you know, Chanel?
Okay, I honestly knew from the beginning, but I really knew when it was their hometown date and she took that man to her house to her neighborhood to go shopping for groceries, eat snacks in her house, and then build furniture. I thought, if that is not the biggest flex to know that this man is into you, because you're like, I don't even have to, I'm not taking you anywhere fancy.
Yep.
We're not like we're not horseback riding.
I'm not trying to do anything fun.
We're literally building like an IKEA cabinet.
You're building the furniture for our future home,
and
babe.
We're eating tortilla chips and salsa. Like, I am not trying to put any kind of impression on you.
As soon as a man is like, I'll clean for you, you're like, cool.
Yes.
I'm good.
Basic, like, hygienic things. If a man is like, hey, I'm wiping down counters, like, whoa. So it's like nuts, you know? And so that at that moment, I knew for sure that she was going to win.
Yeah. I know. And I think that's the interesting thing about her. Like, they both are just very, like, no drama, straight to the point. And I think that's why we knew right away. We were like, they're just kind of, like, perfectly boring together. Like, nothing crazy happening here. Nothing wild. It's just your basic, like, they're now married kind of situation. But something so interesting, I think, is like we all kind of knew the whole time it was going to be them, and yet Zach wouldn't just say it, and like it was so clear it would be them.
And Gabby knew. She was like, just come on, just tell me. Yeah, she was like, be straight to hear. Even at the last rose ceremony, Zach only looked at Katie. Like, the whole time he was talking,
looked at Katie and he looked at Ariel, even in that one.
Sent Ariel home.
Yeah, then he was like
talking to Katie and Gabby.
He was like, I know this is so hard, blah 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 blah. Only looking at and Gabby said it in the finale. She was like, or second to last episode, she was like, he was only looking at Katie. He didn't look at me, and we all cheers. And she was like, I feel like I shouldn't be here. Yeah, because I know it's gonna be her.
I remember in Colton's season when was it Hannah G. He, like, had chosen someone else, and she, like, kind of went off on him because he, like, led her on.
Yeah.
And she was like, I knew I was too good. Like,
there it is.
Heard hearts shatter around the world when she said that.
We love a girl who knows her worth, though. Yes. We love it. And, like, I think the thing about Gabby going home that really got me is, one, you knew the whole time it wasn't going to be you. Like, you really felt it, and you said it over and over again. I knew it was going to be Katie. I knew it was going to be Katie. And Julianna and I just listened to, like, the Bachelor podcast where they had Katie and Zach on, and Katie was like, I knew it was going to be me. She's like, there's always the part of you that's like, wonders. She's like, but I was talking to Jesse right before I went and, like, got engaged, and I was like, I was confident that it was going to be me. And I was like, yes, so was America, babe. Like, we all knew it was going to be you. Like, it was clear as day. And the heartbreaking thing is that, to me, Gabby is like an example of a woman where, like, her worth comes from external validation from men and not, like, a deep understanding of, like, who she is and who made her, and that she is, like, worthy and loved in and of who she is. Right. Because the way she was like, well, who even am I? And I'm unlovable and I'm whatever. And we've all spiraled like that before, but been able to, like, find back our center.
Totally.
And the way that still after the rose, like, a significant amount later, she still was like, you've destroyed my self-confidence, my self-love. And, like,
that's
like
heartbreaking.
So sad to see somebody who, like, does not have belief in, like, the love of the father to, like, not ground herself.
Totally.
Yeah. Wow. Yes. So this season was a whirlwind. Am I going to watch the next season of The Bachelorette?
Of course, because they sucked you in and they made Charity the Bachelorette.
And they made Charity the Bachelorette. So I'm rooting for everybody black. So I will definitely be at your house watching it.
I cannot wait to see the mental health moments with her.
Because she's
a marriage and family therapist.
Oh, cool.
Yes. And, final thoughts on Zach. We were baffled for a while about why people were so obsessed with him because what even is he? He had said nothing about himself. We didn't even know him. And it wasn't until probably like halfway through the season when Chanel and I had like the aha moment that these women were getting free therapy from this man. And that's what they liked. Like they unloaded their trauma. Oh. He listened. He hugged them. He kissed them. That was the end. It was like therapy with a makeout at the end, which
the best kind.
People would pay for that, baby. This should not air. But really, and that's what they were getting. Like, they literally, just daddy issues after daddy issues.
Yeah, and to be validated and consoled by a man who's like, oh, it's okay.
Yes, and he just listened and held them, and then when they stopped crying, he would just be like, "You want a kiss?" And that was it.
And at the end of every conversation is a strong word for what was happening.
Yes, and he would be like,
the ladies would be like,
strong.
I just feel so seen by him. I just feel so.
I feel so seen, so
I feel
heard.
so heard by him, and I would be sitting there as someone in the audience. Yeah, and I would be like. Huh?
He's taking
he didn't say anything about you, and he didn't say anything about himself. There was no response. There was no my grandfather raised me and then he died, and does Zach even have grandparents on this earth? Who knows?
Who knows?
Right.
He wouldn't share anything.
Honestly, he might be a robot.
He might. I thought he was going to peel back his skin at some point.
Theory. I'm here for
and
that.
every episode, I felt like that guy from SpongeBob, that fish that was like, this guy stinks. Every episode, I was like, it's so boring.
It's so true.
Holy crap. And so I don't know, man. But hey, they sucked me in again.
They did
every season, which is a conversation I'm sure we'll have throughout this podcast. But it's like every season they have some controversy with one of the main girls or guys doing something a little racist, a little racist.
Yes, they had to have that moment in the
some sort of
Rose.
Virgin controversy. Every season,
yes, there's always the virgin.
There is a formula, baby.
In Pilot Pete season, it was Madison.
There it is.
Colton was the virgin during his season.
Every season,
all
it's just some sort of virginal. America has this interesting fetishization with virginal people.
They're it's an anomaly to them.
Yeah,
ooh, what are you?
They're like, can you believe?
Walking
There's still some of these left.
So that also
we found a rare flower.
Exactly. So that also brings to mind, why people were probably ready to roast Zach in his Fantasy Suites episode because they were like, oh no, you can't be serious.
They're like, that's ridiculous.
Yeah,
how are you gonna know if you don't?
How are you gonna know? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, wild.
Yeah, so that's essentially our recap, y'all. We hope that you learned something from that. And if the biggest takeaway is
I know I did.
The biggest takeaway is that it's good to love yourself, and the journey is long. The mountain is high.
Olivia Rodrigo said it best. Might I just say, I am more than what I am to you.
There it is. That's actually so true.
Wow, that was very
beautiful. Beautiful. Perfect.
Wow. Yes.
Well, we are so happy you're here, and smash that like button, share it with your friends, tweet it out. I don't even know.
Comment, subscribe,
do all the things.
Share, tell your parents about us, tell your grandparents about us, tell your millennial friends about us, tell your Gen Z friends about us.
Ooh, yeah, not that edgy.
Tell them to check our outfits. What do we
check our fits? Are you into
vibe?
this?
Yeah,
I don't know.
What is our energy like? So tell everyone about us. Thanks for listening. We're excited to talk to y'all next week.
Yes, Julianna, thank you so much for being
here.
Thank
you so much for having me on. I feel honored to be your first guest.
You are our first guest.
Wow.
Thank you, Princess.
Would want nothing more.
We want nothing more.
All right.
Talk to you guys
soon. Much love.